Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Made with Love. My name is Heather, and tonight for supper I'm going to be making pan-seared lamb chops. So I've got my lamb chops here. I get these ones, these are the New Zealand ones. Our lamb I prefer is actually either New Zealand or Australia. This brand here happens to be the New Zealand one. This is, I get 4 chops in here, and we paid $19.97, although I think we had I think they were a little bit reduced as well. And so let's just start doing this. First thing is just opening up the package. Now, these come frozen, and then I had it sitting in the fridge for about 3 days so they would be well defrosted, and then they've been sitting out for almost 40 minutes. I know it says to have them at room temperature for about 20 minutes, or at least 20 minutes. I like that 30 minutes or so. So it's already been out just a little longer than I prefer, but sometimes, you know, get a little bit busy trying to pull all the everything else out that I need. I just realized I forgot to grab a plate. So I'll just be back in 1 second. Okay, because I have to dry these off with paper towel. Don't want them too wet. You know, this is to do is in a cast iron pan. Now, we've got a couple different cast iron pans. The other one that is straight cast iron has to be re-seasoned, and it's just so heavy, and I don't like using it. Also, it needs to be re-seasoned. My dog is here because she can smell the meat. So I gotta cook these fast now that I've gotten her attention. This is like raw meat, because we used to buy her the raw lamb chops for, you know, the dog food, so she just goes crazy anytime she smells the raw lamb. And this is not for her. Okay, so they've been set aside, they're pat dry, and we gotta season them with salt and pepper. So I've got my little Tefal grinder here, and I've got the pepper is in the top one. Flip it over. Some more pepper on the back. And then, like I said, I love this one. It's got multiple little spice compartments here. If I can just figure out how to get this one to come off. There we go. Salt here. So it's got well peppered and well salted. Set those aside. Now I've got my pan here, and I've got to put some oil in here and get this heated up. I should have done this before I did the seasoning. I've got to get this to a medium high, and I've got mine sitting at very high. Sometimes it's just faster just to do it that way. Pan coated with the oil. A little more oil here. It's probably going to be a little too much oil, but that's okay. Just coat the bottom of the pan with the oil. Just let that do its thing. Just set these aside and let them, the salt and pepper go in there. wipe up this. Now I gotta do the my garlic. Need some fresh garlic. So I can tell my garlic. It's the last bulb I had. So it really needs to get used up. So I'm going to use up all this garlic. So my little garlic tool here. A lot of this garlic looks like it's too dry to do anything with. That's what happens. I kind of got on the floor of the pantry, kind of behind some stuff, it got missed. So just kind of go through and find the good pieces. That's all I'm going to get. This all seems pretty dry here. Well, I've got a couple pieces of garlic anyways. This is the wrong knife for cutting up the garlic, but just my other knives are all kind of getting packed away and they're kind of put in the cupboards and I just don't really feel like digging for them. This ready. I'm just waiting for the oil to heat up. And then we're going to just pan sear for about 3 minutes per side. And then we're also going to be using some rosemary and thyme. Waiting for this to heat up. I'm just going to stick these in because I can feel the heat. There. There. It's starting to, there we go. So I can feel the heat, so I can tell that they are getting ready to get the meat put in. I'm going to let that cook for just a few minutes. I'm going to add the garlic now. And I've got my other spices here. I'm just going to sprinkle that in on top because it's they're kind of the whole, like dried whole chunks of the rosemary and thyme. Gotta find my tongs, forgot to grab them out. And I also have my meat thermometer as well, so I can know exactly when it hits the right temperature. First, it just takes a few minutes to get this going. I don't want to burn myself with the oil splashing. Heat and just see. So it's not just a couple minutes, that would be about half cooked on that side. So I'm just going to give this a couple more minutes to cook and I'll be back when I flip them over. Okay, and now that I just flip them over to the other side. And sprinkle a little more seasoning on this side. I'm going to let these sides sit for another another 3 or so minutes, and then I'll be back. Okay, so the other side has been done. I flipped it over and now I'm letting it cook for another 5-10 minutes. The recipe says cook it till it's at 125. Mine just said my thermometer was up to 129, and there's a lot of like blood and stuff coming out. These are not cooked well enough for me. I like my meat actually cooked. So I do use the meat thermometer as a guideline, so I know I'm not overcooking. But I also know that different people prefer different temperatures of meat, and how well done do you like your meat. I like mine cooked. It's hard to describe to people. I'm like, no, I like my meat cooked. I don't like well done burnt meat, but I do like it cooked where there's like no pink. And I know there's varying degrees of what, the temperatures and stuff, and I don't know. I'm just one of those people. I prefer my meat. I don't like burned. I don't like well done. I just like it cooked. So my meat thermometer now, I just took it out, so I'm just stick it right back in this one. It says the temperature is, now it's not going to register. Just at 111. So it's going to take a few more minutes for this to finish cooking. Probably another 5. I think it's going to take more like 8 minutes to actually cook this to the temperature I like. And I did add a little bit of water in here just because it was starting to dry out. I do like to add maybe about a 1/4 cup of water, so I get some of that water kind of cooking it too, not just the oil. So I'm just going to let this cook for another 5 or so minutes. Yeah, see, now the temperature says 140, 142. See, I'd say this is not cooked enough for me based on just pressing it and just seeing the amount of red liquid coming out of the meat. I don't like that. So I'll be back in about 5 minutes, and this should be cooked. All right, I've got my thermometer is actually beeping at me, telling me that these should be cooked. I have my thermometer set to medium, so it says it should be 160. It just went up to 165 and started beeping. So I'm just going to double check that these look cooked to me. And that side just needs another minute there. I'll let these cook for another minute. As I said, I like mine cooked, but when my meat thermometer tells me I've reached the temperature that it says, I'm going to turn that off, throw that in the sink to wash. Just going to give this a couple more minutes, just because, as I said, I don't like my meat burned, but I do prefer it cooked. So now I'm just going to let these sit here. I'm going to turn the stove off. I'm going to let them sit there and rest for a few minutes before I do anything else. And now I'm just going to get ready to make my side. I have decided I'm doing rice or potatoes. So I'm just going to look quickly, see what I have in my pantry, and I'll be right back. So I have a big bunch of potatoes that's got to get used up. So I'm just going to go and peel potatoes, and I'll be back in just a few moments. Okay, potatoes are peeled and cooking, so I'm just going to do mashed potatoes. My lamb has just been sitting to the side resting. It's taken me almost 15 minutes to peel and cut the potatoes. So said I need to have the lamb resting at least 10 minutes. Now I'm just going to put my lamb, wrap it in tin foil, and I'm just going to put it in the fridge. It's kind of early for supper. It's almost 4 o'clock. We won't be eating until closer to 8. This is the shinier side. So I'm just going to wrap the lamb up and put it in the fridge. But it is cooked, and then when it's time to warm this up, I will be reheating it in the oven. Just kind of make this little tent thing. can just sit in here, and I've got the lid as well. I'm just gonna put, oops, sorry. So I've got my lamb wrapped in the tin foil, and I've got it in this dish. I'm just gonna set this in the fridge until it's time to warm up. So I'll be warming this up probably after 7:30. So I'll just be putting it in the oven at 350, not in the pan, but just in the tin foil on a baking dish. And I'm just waiting for the potatoes to cook, and then I'll be making mashed potatoes. So I'll be back much later when I'm reheating the lamb and the potatoes for supper. So this is the lamb I had made. I'm gonna unwrap it from the tin foil. And I'm gonna tin foil just wants to rip on me. This is a really cheap tin foil I got from the, don't think it was from the dollar store. I think it was from like the liquidation store, but it was so cheap and so thin. I'm just gonna take my lamb off the tin foil. Make sure I get all the tin foil out. And I'm just gonna put this in the oven like this. I'll keep warm while I'm going to get my husband, and same with the mashed potatoes. They are still pretty warm. It wasn't that long ago. So I'm just gonna put them in the oven on the keep warm setting. Let's see, I don't even know what the warm and hold, there we go. I think it's set at around, I think it's about 230 or 250, somewhere in there at that temperature. I'm not putting the lids on them. I'm just setting them in here. The potatoes, I can still feel the the bowl is still warm. And the lamb chops are still warm as well. So I gotta go get my husband in about an hour. I'll be back. So I'm just gonna leave those in for an hour on the warming thing. So I'll be back when we come back, and I'll see if it's warm or if I have to, you know, I think maybe when I get back, I'll turn it actually onto 350 and actually heat it all the way. So I'll be back in about an hour. Okay, I have a few minutes before I have to go. So I thought I would make my quick gravy. Got an onion gravy mix, and it needs 1 1/4 cup of water. And I have the pork gravy mix, and it needs 1 cup of water. So I got 2 1/4 cup of water here. I've got it turned on. Let me get this just opened. It just takes a couple minutes. Just kind of pour them in here, get it up to a boil, and then you just stir constantly. That's why I love these gravy mixes. I know I'm making lamb, but I had either turkey or pork. So I decided to make the pork one. Just whisking it. It just says, in a saucepan, combine water and gravy mix. Bring to a boil over medium heat, stirring constantly, and then simmer for 1 minute. So like I said, I love this gravy mixes. These ones are the French's. I get them at Dollarama, 2 for $1.25, which is cheaper than anywhere else, because I've been to other places and they'll charge like $2 for just one little gravy mix. So I love these gravy mixes. They're just so convenient, so easy to have just in the pantry. So get this to a boil, and then just constantly stirring, and then just simmer for a minute while it thickens. And then you've got a nice gravy. Just trying to pick this stuff up too. I'm just also watching the clock. Like I said, my husband, well, I guess my daughter gets off work, and then as soon as I get her, I'll go get my husband. Doesn't take long to make, except when you're watching the clock, then it seems to take longer to make. I don't know why. I think having it on a medium heat takes like a lot longer to get to a boil. But as soon as it gets to a boil, I'll just turn the heat off and let it thicken for a minute. It's starting to boil now. Starting to boil, but not boiling yet. Starting to boil, so I just turn the heat off, and I'm just going to let it simmer for a minute while constantly stirring. And during this last minute is where it's going to really thicken up. So I'm just going to let my dog out, and I'll be back when it has thickened. Okay, during that last minute of simmering, it really thickened up. So now I'm just going to pour the gravy into this bowl here, and I'm just going to put this gravy in the oven beside the lamb and the mashed potatoes on the keep warm. Like I said, so I'll be back in about, well, now I think it's about half an hour. We'll be back and lifting up supper. Here's our supper. It's all warm. I'm just going to take it out of the oven now, if I can. And everything seems warmed up really good, ready to eat. I'm going to need 2 hands for the potatoes. Just 1 second. The tripod is just tipping. Okay. So there's the lamb, the skillet roasted seared lamb, mashed potatoes, and I can get my camera to stop falling down, and gravy. So that is our supper tonight. Wow, my camera is just falling. My tripod is tipping over. Again, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who's subscribing to my channel and watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next ones. Bye.